They're all saving one, or most of the Hampshire fielders are saving one. Somerset need one run. It's Edwards to Hildreth. He's there and bowls Hildreth, and he gets the run away through the onside, and Somerset have won. They've won the Royal London One Day Cup.
Hello, you're listening to Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. This is the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd, and joining me this evening, I've got Dan Kingdom and the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset, Anthony Gibson. Guys, it's our 50th episode today. Didn't know if you were aware of that. But it is going to take... it's probably going to be identical to the 43rd, 44th, 45th, 46th and whatever it is episodes, because we are commenting on, reviewing yet another Somerset batting collapse. Albeit we did have the bowling to take it pretty much to the wire. Essex securing a one-wicket victory, chasing, 84, 85 to win, something like that. Big Craig Overton, career best figures, 13 for 87. But apart from that, Peter Siddle did bowl well too. Apart from that, not much support from the other 9. Steve Davis got 50, Matt Renshaw got a 40-odd, Tom Lammonby got 40-odd as well, didn't he? And that was pretty much that. I mean, where do we start? We're just treading over the same ground week after week now, it seems. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there. Dan, were you there for most of the game? What did you make of it all?
Yes, I was there for all of it. Yeah, lucky me. The last day was great fun, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, I can give you the same stat as last time. It's now that last 13 innings. Only twice have we exceeded 181. So our batting continues to underwhelm. I mean, there were at least some signs. You know, Renshaw made a few, Davis made a few. I mean, it's better than nothing. We just need more contributions, and we need them for longer, don't we? We all know they can do it, as we've said many times before. They're just not performing at the moment for whatever reason. It's, as Lachlan Stevens was saying the other day, it's probably it's different reasons for every player by the sounds of it. It's a combination of things. And they've got to sort it pronto. Hopefully, potentially, the oval track, we know that can be quite flat. Maybe that'll allow them to, find some form. But, we shouldn't make too many assumptions about the oval track. Hampshire were blown away on it last week. So we shouldn't just assume that it's going to be high scoring. We were 69 all out, weren't we, that last year there in the second innings? But hopefully, first innings last year, we actually batted okay, didn't we? Hildreth made 100 and some of the other guys made sort of 40s. But obviously I have to mention the bowling. We were exceptional in both innings, particularly on that last morning. Craig Overton, he was smelling blood really all morning. Just a remarkable performance from him all game. And Siddle backed him up well. And to take it that close, Essex win by 1 wicket. I mean, I was gutted at the end of it, but it was tempered by the fact that I was never expecting it to be that close. And to take it that close was a really remarkable achievement from the bowlers. The win would have been unbelievable. While we're gutted, I think we can at least take some heart from the fact that we have the bowling to win us games. We just need the batting to do a bit better. It doesn't have to be perfect. The batting does not have to be perfect. If we're worrying about avoiding relegation here, the batting doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to do enough for the bowlers to win us games, So, yeah, long season, long way to go. But...
Yeah, it's been the same old story. Yeah, so my flight took off at was due to take off at 11:10 on Saturday morning. So I got to see the first three wickets, and literally just ran out of 4G signal when we were 4 for 4. So just literally sat on the plane for 4 hours thinking, oh God, what is going to happen? And part of me knew that we would lose by 1 wicket. And as soon as we got into some sort of mobile signal over Bristol, just popped up with the alert, a flood of wicket alerts, and then just Essex win by 1 wicket. I was like, for God's sake.
Heartbreaking.
I did catch up with your interview with your post-match interview with Jason Kerr, and a few of your questions had the frustration and the built-up frustration of a few thousand Somerset fans in them, with the along the lines of the batting isn't very good, Jason. What are you going to do about it? And you got the standard diplomatic answer, but it's getting there now. This is 6 games now. I mean, I was kind of updating my own Twitter thread about our various batting collapses that we've had this year. I was going to go back and do it for last year, but I didn't really want to depress myself. But it's really stark numbers, and it just can continue if we're going to... I mean, I've not quite given up on the Championship yet. I might have after the next 2 games, Surrey at the Oval and then Warwickshire at Taunton the week after. But, I mean, when the news about Matt Renshaw came out, we all thought, oh, that's great news, because Matt Renshaw's opened the batting for us, and we need to sign a quality opener. And then the first game, he bats 3. Hildreth bats 4 above Abel at 5. Now, I can't work that out, because Hildy is a middle-order stroke maker. Tom Abel is more of a classical batsman with a classical technique who you think would be better equipped against the new ball. So, it's not quite a mess yet, but it's getting there, isn't it?
Well, it is a mess. The batting is a mess. Somebody on Twitter said, because I asked Jason Kerr, I said, you lost the 4 games at the end of last season, you've lost 2 this. What are you going to do about it? And somebody on Twitter said, well, what he's done about it is he's appointed a batting coach. But Jason didn't actually... That was the obvious answer for him to give, but he didn't give that. But, I place my hope in Lachlan Stevens, because that's what we need. Because they're all still batting on off stump, which means that for most of the time their bat is coming down crooked. Mm-hmm. And it's just... And I mean, I do think some of them are completely shot. Lewis Goldsworthy doesn't look as if he could score a run between here and now and next Christmas. James Hildreth, all right, he got 87 down at the Aegeus Bowl, but he could have been out umpteen times in the first two or three overs. He's got no confidence at all. We hope that Tom Banton will be available for Surrey on Thursday, but they need to give one or two. They need to give James Rue and one or two of the others a go, because at the moment, and I tell you what most shocked me about that game was the pitch. Yeah. If you've got a batting unit that is completely out of confidence and out of form, the last thing you want to do is to risk them having to be put in on a green seamer. Mm-hmm. What do? They prepare a green seamer, presumably on the basis that, we're going to win the toss. Yeah. Well, that's fine if you do win the toss. What happens if you lose the toss?
You get bowled out for 109.
Yeah, exactly. And you're never going to win cricket matches if you're bowled out in the first innings for 109. And Craig Overton on Saturday morning was immense. He was heroic. I was cheering him on with and we could have won it. Rossington was, played and missed, 20 times and could have been out. And when Harmer was at LBW, I thought, yes, that's it, because Harmer has been, the big obstacle to Somerset. But the bottom line is, at the moment, the batting is not good enough. It's no good persevering with the batting lineup that we've got. If you keep doing the same thing, you'll keep getting the same results. They've got to make some changes, and all right, that could be a risk against Surrey, but we can't go any further down. Frankly, you look at the first division table, and it's humiliating, absolutely humiliating. Even Gloucester, who lost against Yorkshire, James Bracey 177. We haven't got anything like that to cling to. It's pretty desperate at the moment.
Well, the salvation coming from the players out the team isn't looking like it's going to be there, because the seconds played against Middlesex today. They got back just over 50 overs in before it rained. Bartlett 13 opened the batting, which is interesting. Goldsworthy 13, Banton 12, Smead 0. Casey Aldridge did get a few runs. He got 39, and young Archie Vaughan, son of Michael, was 34, not out as well. So is James Rue A-level bound? Is he a no-no until he's finished all his exams? That was the impression I was getting from...
Dan might know, but I don't.
I mean, A-level exams will be in May. Mm-hmm. early June. So I suspect he's pretty tied up with revision at the moment. So I suspect that's why he's missed this current match.
Yeah. So looking at okay, it's one game, it's one innings in the seconds, and it could have been a bit of a spicy one down at the Vale. We don't know. But yeah, I think you're right about Goldsworthy. I think probably for his own sanity, it's probably worth just giving him a break out of the firing line for a couple of games at least, get him back into the twos, see if he can get some runs. Banton, although he's not really been an established 4-day player, is experienced. He has played under pressure for England, and obviously in the T20s for us as well. So, and he is an X-factor player who can change the game in a session. So I would expect probably Banton to come in for Goldsworthy at a bare minimum. I don't know if.
What about the openers?
Well, it might
Would you persevere with Green?
It might have been you. Was it you, Dan, who was having a chat with Simon Hancock on Twitter? Said that they may have just put I've forgotten his name now. Renshaw in at 3, just as a bit of a toe in the water before he opens the batting up at Surrey, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I said that, but someone did say that. Yeah, I looked again at his Sheffield Shield last year. He batted at 3 initially, then sort of went down to 4 or 5. It just doesn't seem like he's really an opener anymore. It is odd though, isn't it? We signed the fact that Abel's gone down to 5 now, and Abel's just keeps shuffling around the order like since the end of last season. I thought he was set with 3. He was really successful at 3 in 2020 and 2021. But now he's just shuffling around, and I'm not saying that's the reason he's not done very well recently, but it might just be a coincidence. And
he's our best player as well. You don't want to move your best player around. You keep what's working in the place where it's working. Yeah, and he was scoring runs at 3 all last year, apart from September, where he juggled himself around. I don't know if it was an attempt to get in when the ball was a bit older. With Somerset, if you're batting 3 or 5, you could equally be in the first 5 overs wherever you bat. So it doesn't really make that much of a difference. But I thought just character-wise as well, leading from the front, wanting to go in at 3 would be what he would do.
I think it's symptomatic of just a complete loss of confidence. He didn't know.
Anthony was saying complete loss of confidence, and he's frozen.
Yeah. Oh, have I? Oh, sorry.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
I was talking to a good friend of mine who summarises for me sometimes, who coached the Essex wicketkeeper at Millfield, and he was the wicketkeeper. This was very interesting about some of what he thought as a wicketkeeper watching the Somerset batsman. And what he said was, which I agree with, Green is not an opening batsman. He's down. He should be down at 7 or 8. And the other interesting thing he said was that Tom Abel is not batting with a straight bat. He's got a crooked bat, and I think this is all down to this blooming off-stump guard again, where they're batting on off-stump, and when the ball is coming into them, he turns his wrist in order to adjust to that, and it ends up with the bat being crooked.
You want to be playing beside the ball. I noticed this with Ben Green as well. He got bowled quite a lot towards the end of last season. Bats coming down from first slip. He's got big pads right in front of the stumps, and he's just playing across. You need to be beside the ball and back yourself to be good enough to hit it. And if
they've got to go back to a middle and leg or middle stump guard, and just back themselves to leave or defend or whatever. But they're all batting on blooming off stump, and it's a fad that will fade away. But in the meantime, it's doing them no good whatsoever, and it's destroying their confidence. I mean, that's why Tom Abel is moving around the order as he did back when he was made captain back in 2016. And he didn't get any runs. He ended up dropping himself, and then he went down to number 5. And as Dan was saying, his best form was last season when he was batting at number 3, and he was coming in the first, as I've said umpteen times, the first half a dozen overs, innings after innings after innings, and he was batting properly like an opening batsman and keeping quick bowlers at good bowlers at bay on difficult pitches. But his confidence has gone.
Mm-hmm.
Hildreth, I don't know what, it's hard to know what's going on in James Hildreth's head at the moment. Lewis Goldsworth's got no confidence whatsoever. Tom Lammonby is sort of conflicted in the way he plays. He loves to play his shots, and he's constantly reining himself in, to leave it and defend it, and he does it and does it and does it, and then suddenly something goes in his head, and he goes to hook a short ball, or play a big shot outside the off stump. The other thing, but he was very unlucky in Somerset's second innings because he was not out. And I was very, very... I shall never think of Sir Alastair Cook in quite the same way again, because from the replays that I saw, the catch that Sir Alastair claimed bounced at least 3 inches in front of him. And that was Tom Lammonby. And Dick Davis, the BBC Radio Essex commentator, was on with me when we watched the replay. He agreed with me. There was no doubt about it. And the umpire couldn't see. Lammonby relied on Alastair Cook's say-so that he'd taken the catch cleanly, and it wasn't taken cleanly. And he must have known that had bounced before him.
Yeah,
so,
you know.
anyway, yeah, I thought that was very, very poor from a former England captain with 161 test matches.
A Knight of the Realm as well.
Yeah, to claim a catch that clearly wasn't a catch, that's pretty poor.
I don't think Alastair Cook... Could we put Alastair Cook on the list?
No,
we can
don't forget he was party to Essex reporting Somerset for the pitch in September 2019. Ryan Tender-Scarter was the captain, okay, but as far as I understand it, Alastair Cook was 100% there with his captain, saying, "Oh yeah, report it to Lords," even though they just won the blooming county championship, and the umpires were happy enough with the situation. So, he's gone down in my estimation.
I haven't seen the catch that wasn't. Dan, what did you make of that?
Yeah, in the ground, my instinct, I saw it and my instinct was, that's bounced. It's just one of those ones where you just know, and I was surprised to see them celebrate and surprised that there was no sort of conferring between the umpires or anything like that. So I thought, I must have misseen it, and it must have actually gone straight in. But no, when I saw later that everyone was saying it bounced, then I agree. We also shouldn't forget the Bob Willis Trophy final when Cook's got a century. Was it the first innings or second innings?
First innings.
Cook took a while to... he showed some dissent or something, didn't he, after that...
he did, he was out. Was he caught behind off Lewis Gregory, wasn't he? And
caught behind.
Yeah. Well, he was plumb LBW to Jack Leach in the last game of 2019. I've still got the screenshot on the phone that somebody sent me while I was watching it. I was sort of like, there was a mate who was watching it at home, and every time there was because he had Hawkeye because it was on Sky. I was like, was that out? And I just saw this picture of it cannoning into Midland leg on Hawkeye or Midland off, and I was like, so that's probably 3 reasons for Alastair Cook to go on the list. I can't do it. We love Alastair Cook. Dear. Speaking of people we actually do genuinely love, Craig Overton absolutely bowled himself into the ground for his team this week, and it just shows what a player he is to miss. From a purely selfish point of view, I hope he doesn't get picked by England. I want to see him playing the whole summer for Somerset. Or I tell a lie. I want to see him playing for England. I don't want to see him wearing a bloody luminous bib, carrying drinks on for the whole summer, which is what he's done. What he did for the whole of last summer.
Well, his father Mark was there on Friday, and we had a good chat about it. And I said, it's great to see Craig bowling so well. He said, don't forget about Jamie as well.
Yes, 8 wickets for Jamie down at the Oval.
Yeah. And I tweeted him on after. Said you must be really proud about Craig and what he's done after he taken his 13 for 87. He said, I'm proud of both of them. And that was after Jamie had... And there's a piece in the Sunday Times today. Is it today? No, in the Times today. I'm losing track. It's Monday today. In the Times, by Mark Baldwin, saying that Jamie might be rivaling his brother in challenging for an England place, because he seems to have got his action sorted out. He's fit. He's taking wickets. He's fast. He's shortened his run up, and it should be an absolutely fascinating face-off.
Yes.
Between the two Overtons.
We're going to see it on Thursday. Barring injury, barring an act of God, we are finally going to see Overton versus Overton on Thursday. We've been looking forward to that for... Well, not looking forward to it, because we never really wanted to see it. We want to see Jamie staying at Taunton.
Yeah, we'd rather see him for Somerset. But it should be, I wish them both every possible success. Mm-hmm. And if we lose at the Oval, I hope it's because Jamie Overton's taken 10 wickets.
Well, I hope Jamie
scored 100.
I hope Jamie scores a double 100, takes 15 wickets, and Somerset win. But there we go. Yeah, I mean, he was playing as more or less a specialist batsman in their one-day team last year, wasn't he? He was hardly getting a bowl.
But
he's got it sorted out. We hope. Well, we sort of hope.
Yeah. Could he not have waited a couple of weeks to get it sorted? And oh dear. But yeah, that's going to be a fascinating contest, because those two going up against each other, from what I've heard about their rivalry and how they get on with each other, they're the best of enemies, as you would put it. So yeah, looking forward to that. Kamar Roach.
He's injured now.
He's injured, yeah.
Gone.
6.2 overs he bowled in Hampshire's first innings, didn't bowl in the second, so that's possibly a bonus. But looking really at the matchup for Thursday, it looks like the strength is Surrey's batting and Somerset's bowling. Could be famous last words like Burns, Patel, Amla, Pope, Folkes. That's a pretty good top five.
Isn't Jamie Smith in there?
I've got Jamie Smith at 6, Will Jacks at 7. Yeah, so it's a pretty good top set. I didn't want to go any lower. Yeah, Jamie coming in at 8 and giving a whack
Smith
as well.
And Will Jacks are two of the best young batsmen in the country.
Yeah,
Jamie Smith, I predict he'll play 50 Test matches for England. He's brilliant, and Will Jacks is, and that's what you get from playing on good pitches.
Yeah,
you get good batsmen. They've been playing on the Oval, and you've got Ollie Pope, Will Jacks, Jamie Smith, three of the best young batsmen in the country. And whereas, that pitch at Taunton that they've just played on, how is any young batsman out of form, going to get his confidence back against the likes of Sam Cook on that pitch at Taunton? I mean, it's just ridiculous that we can't produce decent pitches. Good pitches will produce good batsmen, and vice versa.
Strange as well, because the 3 pitches we have for the warm-up games were pretty decent. They weren't minefields by any stretch of the imagination. So it's, it couldn't have been because of the condition of the ground. It must have been under somebody's instruction. And as you said,
Jason said, "Oh, it wasn't the pitch that we were expecting."
Yeah,
but I mean, it isn't as if we had really difficult weather.
No, the weather's been lovely.
The weather could hardly have been better. I don't know whose fault, but it might be an opportunity. Go on. Yeah.
So saying it seems they're struggling to get the balance right, because obviously last year there was a couple of matches. The Leicestershire game comes to mind, where it was just slow and boring, and there was only 2 innings in the match. But now it's sort of gone too far the other way. It's far too much of the system for the seamers. In an ideal world, while it produce an incredible finish, you don't be playing on those pitches regularly.
No.
But we don't also want really slow wickets which produce boring cricket and result in draws. They seem to be struggling to get the balance right between having a bit in it for the bowlers, a bit in it for the batsman, good pace, good carry, etc. Something they need to. It's not easy, is it? Though? It's not an easy solution. Being a grounds person is there's no magic solution, is there? So yeah,
let's go back to Hyderabad.
Why not? We could go back to Phil Frost and batting on the on the M5, but it's just as Dan was saying, you need a fast pitch.
Yeah,
that's just going to deteriorate a little bit over the course of the 4 days. That's got pace in it for the quick bowlers, bounce in it for the spinners, and will just crumble a bit towards the end. Shouldn't be impossible.
So what are we doing for Thursday then? Something
Well,
needs
we're
to
going
change.
the Oval. Well,
Oh, you are. Some of us got to work, Anthony.
well, yeah, cool.
We do need to give some props, I believe is what you call it, to the whoever does the graphics for Surrey's live stream, because on the left hand side it was Kevin James, however many first class runs, however many first class wickets, Mark Church, the UK's Premier Richard Branson lookalike. Something like that. So I don't know what they've got in store for you, Anthony, but let's hope they're kind.
Old Git, probably.
Oh, less of
Farmer Gibson.
Less of the old.
Like that.
Oh, I meant to ask you last week. How was the Thatcher's Blood Orange cider?
It's a bit. It's very. As I said to Martin Thatcher, it's very well made. It's a bit sweet for my taste. Steve Tancock's enjoyed it. For those people who like a sweet cider, it's a very, very nice, well-made cider. So next time you're at the Candy Ground, I should try one.
Okie dokes, yeah. I'm a Rascal man myself. Do enjoy the Rascal.
Well,
I didn't enjoy that.
didn't
enjoy that piss I got in Spain. That was awful. There's no tang, no zing to it. It was just like drinking.
Well, the Summersby.
No, it was. So we went to there was like a big shopping mall over the road from the Ben Green Gardens, and there was a supermarket in there. And I've got a picture of it. I'm trying to remember what it was called now. But I just saw cider, and then the big sort of a big raft of it, and it was called Ladron de Manzanas, and they had a red apple and a green apple, and they were both flipping horrible.
Well, they do make very good cider in northern Spain, in Asturias. There's a huge cider tradition there. That's where they pour it. Where you pour it over your head, down into a glass that you hold down by your knee.
Oh, right.
You must be the Asturian cider. I won't bore you now. But
that seems fraught with danger. After a few, I can barely get it in the glass when it's right on my lap. So it's holding up here down to you. Oh God. That's a country where they run down a street followed by 700 angry bulls for fun. So
that part Pamplona is a great cider city, and you go into bars where they've got a huge barrel of cider and just a tiny tap, and as part of your meal, you get as much cider as you can drink.
I'm there,
and you just go and help yourself. It's fantastic. The cider in northern Spain is some of the best in the world.
The cider in Tenerife is bloody awful. Anyway, well, I probably wasn't trying the best, but all the bars, to be fair, I wasn't going around many Spanish bars. It was all Paddy O'Malley's Irish bar and all this sort of nonsense. So, not a great lot of cider in Tenerife. So for the Oval, then I'm gonna keep the same side.
Oh no, you can't.
Apart from. That doesn't make sense, does it? Keep the same side apart from. I'm going to change the side. I'm going to stick Matt Renshaw into open, move Aves back to 3, Hildy 4, and then it would have been nice if somebody had got some runs down at the Vale today, but I'm going, what am I to? Hildy 4, Banton, and I really want to get Will Smead in the side.
I know. Well, drop Hildy and put Will Smead.
No, I'm going to put Will Smead in at 6, and then.
No, you can't. We need bowlers. We need the four top line bowlers. We were short of a bowler against.
But this is you can have who you want in your side, Anthony. This is my side, so I'm going Davis 7, Gregory Overton, Siddle, and Leach. Oh, and I'm not going to bat Leach at 11 because that for me again was something. It seemed completely daft that you'd want Leach staying with either an Overton or a Siddle. You want him. He needs to bat higher up. Basically, he's.
What about Josh Davey? Isn't he going to be fit for the Oval?
We'll see how he gets on at the Vale. I mean, he hasn't bowled yet, so I'm not sure whether he's ready or not. I don't know if this is a 2. Is this a 2 or a 3-day game?
It's 4-day. It's the first match of the actual.
It's actual 4 days. So maybe Josh Davies, seeing as how he gets on, but would you have Josh Davies ahead of... You can't get him in ahead of Siddle, you can't get him in of Craig, and would you want him coming in ahead of
We
Lewis?
just have one fewer batsman. You just have one fewer.
We just got
batsman.
bowled out for 109, Anthony. We can't have one fewer.
Well,
batsmen.
I know, and we had, we had Davis coming in at 7, and fat lot of good it did us.
That's my side.
I'd say.
Come on, let's have your side. Let's have your team then, Anthony.
Well, I'd go with Renshaw and Lammonby and Abel, and then I think I'd go for either Banton or Smead at 4, Bartlett at 5, Davis at 6, Gregory, Overton, Davey, Siddle or Leach and Siddle. So I'd play 5 bowlers, 5 top line bowlers, and 6 batsmen, including Gregory and Overton are very capable, and Josh Davey as well. They're very capable batsmen. So you're batting down to number 9 as it is, and I think bowlers win matches. And if Davey is fit and available, then I'd have him. And if he's not, then I'd have Jack Brooks in there.
Yep. It's a good shout. Dan?
Yeah, I think for the Oval, I think it'd be quite risky to go with just the 3 out-and-out seam bowlers. Particularly, I think Abel's bowling hasn't been quite so good recently. I don't know, I just feel like it's been the case this start of this season, end of last season. Particularly... since he's sort of become the 5th bowler as opposed to the 6th bowler, maybe he's been slightly less effective. But yeah, I think I agree with Anthony's team, really. I definitely think Leach should bat higher. I think we could even use Leach as sort of the opposite of a pinch hitter, just maybe promoting up the order occasionally just to try and stay there and bat with someone. There might be situations where we want to delay Overton or Gregory a bit, coming in, because obviously they're a bit more attacking, and have Leach sort of try and stay in with someone like Steve Davis or something. I don't know, but he should definitely bat above Siddle for sure. Renshaw I'm happy to open with Lammonby, Abel 3, Hildreth 4, 5 Banton, 6 Bartlett, or either way around is fine. Hang on, no, that's too many though, isn't it? Because then maybe just Banton and not Bartlett. Davis at 6, Gregory, Overton. Yeah, Davey if he's fit. Leach, then Siddle. Yeah, happy with that.
We've got a new always look on the bright side of life cat who's just popped in to say hello.
Oh, this is Lady Jane Grey.
Lady Jane Grey.
Yeah, she's getting on a bit now.
Oh, bless. Hello, Lady Jane.
Yeah. Yes, it's. I'd like to see them give Will Smead a go. Then I really do. I think Hildreth. When I spoke to him after he got that 87 down at the Aegeus Bowl, I said, you must be really pleased about getting yourself back into form. And he said, well, I don't know if I am really back into form. I don't know quite. It's just as if he hasn't really got much of a handle on how he's playing at the moment. It seemed to me, and he's another one. All of these. I mean. I pin my hopes on Lachlan Stevens, on his shoulders, all my hopes, because as he rightly said, I said, what are you going to do about it? He said, it all depends on the individual. And it does. They've all got individual issues. And I hope he's going to sit down with them or go into the nets with them and identify what the issues are and sort them out. Because I remain convinced that our batters are fundamentally talented and capable of doing the business if they get the right coaching and they're pointed in the right direction, which I don't think they've had over the last few years. It goes back to Matt, and when I said to him back in Worcester in 2015. Isn't it about time you got a batting coach? He said, I am the batting coach. Well, it honestly hasn't shown. And Jim Troughton last year, he spent all of his time with the second 11, and that group of batters has really suffered from not being properly coached, I think. I mean, they will, Jason Kerr will no doubt tell me something different, and some of them may tell me something different. But that's where the focus has got to be on turning, as I've said umpteen times, turning potential into results, because the potential is there, but the results aren't.
I mean, Marcus was at the ground he was certainly at the ground for one of the days. And as a batting guru, if you like, even if he's not officially the batting coach, I'm sure any of those players would be able to just quickly send a message to Trez and say, Trez, can you just have a little look at how I batted on the live stream? Everything's on YouTube. Just have a look. Can you tell me what you think? And he would do it. I mean, the guy bleeds Somerset. I mean, with his England stuff, he can't.
I'm not sure how good a coach he is. There's a world difference between being a world-class batsman and a world-class coach.
Well, if he's doing the job for England, then he can't be too bad. And even from the mental side of things, just how did you go about approaching opening the batting markers? What was your mindset? What did you do before? What did you do in the 20 minutes before?
He hardly got a run until what's his name took him in hand back in 2000. But anyway, they Lachlan Stevens isn't exactly a household name for his batting.
No,
but he's supposedly a very, very good coach. Andy Flower, that pretty run-of-the-mill batsman for Zimbabwe, but.
I don't think you could describe him as run-of-the-mill. He was number one in the world for a period of time.
Well, I know he was, but he wasn't, he was...
You've got impossibly high standards, Gibbo. Andy Flower was all right, number one in the world, so what? But, I mean, the saving grace is that all these guys have done it before. They've all had success. I mean, Tom Lammonby's innings against Worcester in the Bob Willis, that must-win game up at New Road in 2020, was a phenomenal innings. It was one of the best that we've ever seen. Ben Green, he's gutsed it out. Has he got a 50 yet? I'm not sure, but I don't think we are kind of pinning it on Ben Green. Tom Abel, James Hildreth, obviously. Tom Banton, one of the most exciting talents in the country. Ditto Will Smead. George Bartlett has done it. And Steve Davis obviously has been around the circuit for a number of years and enjoyed a great deal of success. Lewis Gregory and Craig Overton as well. So all these guys have done it. It's just about cracking that little seed of what makes them tick and what that approach is that will consistently work for them, and you've got it. So in many ways it's a difficult job, but it's also quite an easy job once you get those players into the right place. You get them pointing in the right direction.
You're making a very good case for yourself to be the new Somerset batting coach.
I didn't apply. I threw all my eggs in the basket of being ECB managing director, which has gone to Rob Key.
What would you do about Lewis Gregory then? I mean, he's such a talented batter, whatever you want to call it. And then he gets himself, he goes along playing beautifully, straight bat through the covers. He had an on drive on whenever it was Friday that was just it's like Babra's arms on drive, and then he gets one just short of a length on leg stump, goes for a pull shot, top edge, caught at long leg. When runs were like gold dust for Somerset, and he's done it so many times.
I suppose
how do you
could say if you think the runs are like gold dust and you get one that you think I can smack this in the river or whichever way round it was, you just go for it. I mean, there's a fine line. There's such a fine line between hitting a glorious cover drive for 4 and then playing the exact same shot to a slightly different ball and nicking off. It's such a fine line between somebody saying brilliant shot and what have you done that for? But Dan, I suppose it all boils down to your mantra of your mantra. Play better cricket. Just play better cricket.
Yes. In fact, there's no magic solution, is there? And they can all have different solutions, and it's going to be all about small incremental improvements, probably, to their techniques, that sort of thing. And and it's probably a mindset thing to some extent, because we know every one of these guys has scored runs in the past in first class cricket, with maybe the exception of Ben Green. The other guys they've all done it before, so they've just got to find a way to get back to that.
Well, Lewis Goldsworthy hadn't really. He's been picked on potential.
He got 40
That's true.
on against.
Did it in the Royal London One Day Cup.
Yeah, he got 40 on against Middlesex, didn't he? Is that his highest score to date? Has he got 50 yet?
So,
No 50s. He had 40 odd at the Oval last year, 40 odd on debut against Middlesex. He's got to channel those innings. Ben Green's got to channel his. He's had a few starts. He's got to find a way to convert those starts. It's somehow by hook or by crook.
Yeah.
I suppose in some way the bigger the problem is, sometimes the bigger the problem, the more obvious it is, the more easy it is to solve. I suppose, like you say, Anthony, is it just a case of not taking it off stump guard, just shifting over?
No, I think I think what Lachlan Stevens said is absolutely right. That they've each, they're each individuals. That they've got their issue. They've got the strengths and they've got their weaknesses. And as a coach, he needs to accentuate their strengths and address their weaknesses and do it on an individual basis. For some of them, an off-stump guard, might work perfectly well. But, with the results that we've got at the moment, you can't just sit down there and say, it's, let's just let them carry on expressing themselves, which is what Jason Kerr seems to be saying. They've got to take responsibility. Yeah. Was what he said, and what I said to him was, "Don't you think you ought to take some responsibility as head coach for what's happened over the last period, and take some of these guys in hand and sort out whatever their issues are, because they've all got issues, and they're all different, but they're also all very talented."
Is it a bit too cosy in that dressing room, do you think? There need to be some teacups thrown around and a bit of a bollocking given around?
Well, I don't know, but I sense that. Yeah, I think somebody needs to
get a hairdryer out.
Yeah. It's not good enough what's happened at the moment with the batting, and and in a way, the fact that we lost by 1 wicket. And we didn't redeem the failures or the bowlers didn't redeem the failures of the batters, may actually be a good thing, because that would have papered over. It
would have been a massive papering over the cracks. Yeah,
real problem. Because we got a fantastic bowling attack. I mean, Craig Overton is a force of nature. I mean, he was just one of the way he kept charging it, and Peter Siddle as well, who didn't have much luck, but bowled brilliantly, ball after ball after ball, with pace and movement, and determination. It was a really. And Lewis Gregory, was very, very unlucky as well. He's not quite so relentless as the other two, but he does a bit more with the ball. And when you've got Josh Davey coming back swinging it, we got a fantastic attack, but we've got to. It's no good trying to pretend that what's happening with the batting at the moment is acceptable. It's not acceptable. And they've either got to get a grip on it and get more out of the players they've got, or they've got to put some of the players they've got aside and give some of the others, like Will Smead and James Rue, a chance to show what they can do. Because at the moment, it's not working.
How long's Jamie got left on his contract? Because it just popped into my head just randomly there. Like when you say you've got an incredible player, you say, "Oh, I wish we could clone him. Wish we could get another one of him." And you kind of have just up the road at the Oval. Well, how long's his contract? Is it 3 years?
Who's that? Sorry,
Jamie Overton.
Oh yeah, he's got so this year and next year, and then he's out of contract.
Oh, would you have him back?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Should never have been allowed to go.
No.
Well, no, he shouldn't have. If they'd given him the new ball, he wouldn't have gone. And I'll tell you another thing. Why didn't they give Craig Overton the new ball in the first innings against Essex?
That was strange.
That was weird.
I mean,
Pitch it was still first day. Pitch was still doing a bit, so it's yeah.
But you got England Test bowlers, absolutely itching to go after not having played cricket for about 3 or 4 months, and you give the new ball to Lewis Gregory,
who was a bit out of nick as well. So that was
he's just sort of coming back. I mean, just
it was very strange. But some good news. Somerset women managed to win a couple of games today. They beat Gloucester in a double header at the. Were they friendlies? No, that was the first couple of games of the Vitality County T20. They took on Gloucester at Thornbury and they won both games. Dan, did you keep an eye on that one?
I did, yeah. Sophie Luff in the second game with 50, batting through the chase to secure the win. Lorraine Shapansky again, she took 3 wickets in the second game, 1 wicket in the first game. She did really well last year and she's carried on where she left off, which is good. 2 solid wins. I mean, another one other thing to mention is Daisy Jeans as well. She played a bit last year, I think. But yeah, she hit 30 off 16 balls in the first game to sort of push Somerset up to 132, which was a very defendable score. But yeah, that was a really good innings. Finishes in women's cricket are not that common. Players down the order who can hit innings like 30 off 16. So yeah, good little cameo from her.
Excellent stuff. And also, Annie Shrubsole has retired from international cricket this week. Somerset's Annie Shrubsole MBE. That probably wasn't a surprise given how emotional she looked at the end of the World Cup final. But congratulations to Annie on a fantastic career for England. I don't think anybody will forget the 6 for 46 in the World Cup final back in 2017. Should we quickly have a chat about Rob Key's appointment as MD of England Cricket? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was a really good move. He's a really nice. I've met him a few times, and he's.
I got drunk with him in Cardiff after Power Cricket. He's a great guy. This is 20 years ago.
He's a really nice guy. But there was a piece about him. Michael Atherton was writing about him in the Times today, and he says he's a great fan of the 100. So. Oh no!
Well, Welsh Fire had a stand at Chepstow today. I got some free stuff off them for the kids.
So my heart sank. I'm afraid.
Well, I suppose you kind of I don't suppose you would have got past the pre interview stage if at the ECB if you'd given anything less than 100% laudable praise for the 100. Yeah. I was just thinking about this today. If Mike Atherton or Nasser Hussain or about 3 or 4 other people in high up, established, respected people like Alex Stewart had applied for that job, they would have surely got it ahead of Rob Key, wouldn't they? So is making people like Atherton and Hussain stay being journalists and commentators instead of, nothing against journalists and commentators, Anthony, stick at Sky instead of throwing their hat into the ring and really
because it's much easier to sit on the sidelines and criticise than it is to be there and make the decisions and stand up and be counted. So good for him. And he is a nice guy. I think he'll do a good job. And frankly, what he thinks about the 100 is really neither here nor there in terms of his position. Let's hope we go back to having a proper selection panel, and let's hope that he appoints Jos Buttler as the new captain of England. It's what he ought to be, and he's got another 100 today in the IPL for Rajasthan Royals.
Yeah, he's in pretty decent.
He should be captain. There. He's the obvious captain. And he should be back at Somerset
as well.
Well, he should, but wicket-keeper batsman. There's nothing to choose between him and Ben Foakes. But Jos has got the X factor, which is cricket brain, respect from his teammates. He's a natural captain, and if I was anything to do with it, I'd appoint him.
Do you think that was galvanise him as being captain?
I don't think he doesn't need galvanising. He's desperate to succeed.
Well, just with his batting, he's never cracked Test batting, has he?
I know, but he tries and tries and tries.
Well,
I could
go out there and try out.
I know, but Foakes had his go in the West Indies, and he dropped a couple of catches, didn't score any runs. It's very hard to say that Ben Foakes is a better wicket-keeper batsman than Jos Buttler. They both got their strengths.
I'm going to disagree. I think we didn't see the best of Foakes, and I do think much as I love Jos, I think he's had a long enough run in the England Test team. He's just not quite. He's got too many shots. That's the trouble.
He'd be a fantastic captain. He'd have the respect of his teammates. He'd have the respect of his teammates. Role. And he's got a cricket brain, which I don't. With all I think Ben Stokes, who probably will get, has got quite enough on his plate as it is, as an all-rounder. And he doesn't strike me as natural captaincy material any more than Andrew Flintoff or Ian Botham.
This isn't hypothetical now, because Joe Root resigned since our last podcast, didn't he? He resigned last week, so we have got to choose a New England captain, as well as the Somerset team to take on Surrey at the Oval on Thursday. It's difficult. I don't think you can look. I think you're right. Ben Stokes will probably get it. I think he did a great job with that third 11. The COVID squad that beat Pakistan 3-0. All the comments coming out of that, he was a really good captain, really inspirational leader, really put arms around the players when he needed it. I think he's got to be odds-on favourite to get it. It's his unless he doesn't want it. Do you agree with that, Dan? Are you having Ben Stokes, or are you going for?
I don't really have a strong opinion. One idea I had was Broad and Anderson should do it, and then I know it has to be both of them because they don't always play. So Broad can be the captain. Broad can be the captain, say, but then when Broad doesn't play, Anderson can do it. Just make sure one of them is always playing. But this obviously is a short-term thing. But so because there's no real obvious picks that are currently in the team. Because as we said, Ben Stokes, he's kind of the natural successor. But as we've discussed, because he's an all-rounder and with the history of Flint and Overton and how their captaincy stints went, maybe we shouldn't give it to Stokes. So it is a really difficult one. There really isn't a cast iron, nailed on perfect player to be captain.
There is now. Rob Keyes, managing director of England Cricket, so step forward Zach Crawley.
Oh, or Sam Billings.
Or Sam Billings, yeah. Or even Darren Stevens. Anyway. Bit of sad news today has come out on the Somerset Twitter. Under 11s player Jaden Cruikshank was recently diagnosed with ALCL, which is a type of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. So there's a GoFundMe to support Jaden, and other associated causes were there. So we're going to retweet that. But get well soon, Jaden, and all the best from everyone at Somerset, and always look on the bright side of life. So all the best to Jaden. Anything else before we knock it on the head for tonight?
We need a win. We
desperately need a win.
I have to say that if we come away from the Oval with a draw, I should be more than happy. Hopefully it's a batting paradise. We win the toss, bat first. Batters get into some sort of nick. I'm tempting fate, but does anybody know when the last time we lost 7 championship games on the bounce was?
It was actually the same. So the last time we lost 6 in a row was 1960. That was actually a run of 7. So that's the last time.
We can't go back any other than 1960 then. Fair dues. That sounds good to me. Oh, right.
Right. Still, at least you had a couple of winners at Chepstow.
Yeah, I had a couple of winners at Chepstow. It's always good fun going the races. See the Overton twins there a couple of times. Seen Jason Kerr, Greg Kennis at Taunton, and the newest member of the Always Look on the Bright Side of the list, Alastair Cook, had a bet with us at Cheltenham, and he was a lovely bloke. But I now know there's evil behind that.
No.
Facade. Is he evil? Can we call him evil?
No, that's a bit harsh.
Is Alastair Cook is not evil.
Not very sporting.
Had a lapse in judgment.
Well, if it had been James Hildreth, he wouldn't have claimed the catch. I've seen Hildy, back in whenever it was, 2016, 2017 at Worcester, when Somerset were desperate to get the last wicket, and he took a catch at backward point, and everybody thought it was out. The batsman was halfway back to the pavilion, and Hildy said no. It bounced before I took it, and I thought, that was my golden moment of Somerset's season that year, because that is sportsmanship. Yeah. That's what cricket should be all about.
Definitely, well played, Hildy. I don't think I don't think any of our lads would claim one like that.
I don't think we don't.
We're going to be proven wrong on Thursday with a massive controversy now.
To get Jamie Overton out, no doubt.
Oh yeah, Craig.
It's going to be tremendous, though, isn't it? Craig versus Jamie.
Yeah. Craig will want to get Jamie out, or the vice versa. That'd be good. Oh, right.
Battle
Okay.
of the Giants.
Couple of days till Overton versus Overton. Finally, the main event. Best of luck to Somerset. Best of luck to Tom Abel and the boys. And we'll catch you Monday next week. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers. Ta.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.